When most people think of frogs, they imagine small, harmless creatures, quietly catching insects near a pond. But one frog completely shatters that image. In the wild plains of Africa lives a frog that refuses to follow the normal rules of nature. Instead of feeding only on insects like most frogs, this predator hunts far larger and more dangerous prey. It will attack venomous snakes, mice, birds, reptiles, deadly scorpions, and even other frogs. Nothing is truly safe when this frog is hungry. Its appetite is so aggressive that it has even been documented attacking small chickens, and in rare cases, lunging toward humans that come too close. And when the breeding season arrives, the violence does not stop. Males fight each other like tiny wrestlers, battling fiercely for the chance to mate with a female. This is not the gentle frog most people imagine. This is the African bullfrog, one of the most powerful and aggressive amphibians on Earth. To understand why the African bullfrog became such a massive and aggressive predator, we have to look at the harsh environment that shaped its evolution. This frog lives across the dry savannas and semi-arid regions of southern Africa, where water is not guaranteed. In these lands, rain may come only once a year, and when the dry season arrives, it can turn the landscape into a lifeless desert. For months, sometimes nearly an entire year, the ground becomes rock hard. Ponds disappear, plants wither. Many animals are forced to migrate, and those that cannot escape often die. But the African bullfrog has evolved a different strategy. Instead of running from the drought, it digs. Using its powerful back legs, the frog burrows deep underground. Then its body begins producing layers of dried skin, slowly forming a protective cocoon around itself, almost like a living mummy, with only its nostrils left open to the surface. Inside this sealed chamber, the frog enters a survival state known as estivation. Its heartbeat slows. Its metabolism drops to the bare minimum, and it can remain buried in the soil for months, patiently waiting for rain to return. Then one day, thunder finally cracks across the sky. Rain begins to fall, the dry earth softens, temporary pools form across the savanna, and the frog awakens. When the rains arrive and the land fills with temporary pools, the African bullfrog wastes no time. It sits half submerged in muddy water or hidden among grass, perfectly still. To passing animals, it looks like nothing more than a lump of mud. But the moment something moves within range, the frog explodes into action. Small mammals like mice are common victims. A quick hop, a sudden snap of the jaws, and the prey disappears whole. Birds that land too close to the water's edge can also become targets. Even reptiles are not safe. Young snakes slithering through the grass may suddenly find themselves grabbed by a mouth almost as wide as the frog's entire head. The snake may twist and strike, but the frog simply clamps down and begins swallowing. And then there are scorpions. Across the African savanna, venomous scorpions roam the same habitats. Their curved tails carry powerful stingers capable of delivering painful and sometimes dangerous venom. Yet, when a scorpion wanders too close, the bullfrog does not hesitate. With a lightning-fast strike, it grabs the scorpion before the stinger has time to react. In this chaotic feeding frenzy, almost anything that moves can become a meal. Because this frog is built for one purpose: to eat as much as possible before the next drought arrives. The African bullfrog is, in many ways, a living biological weapon. Unlike the American bullfrog, It does not rely on toxins or poison. Instead, it relies on raw physical power. Inside its mouth are not one, but two sets of natural weapons. Along the upper jaw are small gripping teeth known as maxillary teeth. But the real surprise lies in the lower jaw. Here, the frog carries sharp bony projections called odontodes, structures that function almost like fangs. When prey passes within reach, the frog launches forward with a huge open mouth. It does not chew, it simply grabs and swallows. Often the prey is still alive as it slides down the frog's throat. To help force the meal downward, the frog even pushes with its own eyes, pressing them into the skull to shove food deeper inside. But what about venom? Scorpions carry dangerous stingers. Snakes can inject powerful toxins. So, how does the frog survive? The answer lies in the bullfrog's explosive attack. By striking suddenly and swallowing quickly, the frog reduces the chance of being stung or bitten. And once the prey reaches the stomach, the battle is almost over. The bullfrog's digestive system works like a chemical furnace, filled with extremely powerful acids that break down flesh, bone, and most toxins before they can cause serious harm. The result is a predator that can consume animals many creatures would avoid entirely. Above all, the African bullfrog is an ambush hunter, patient, silent, and deadly. If something passes close enough, and if it fits inside that enormous mouth, it becomes food. But the most dramatic chapter in the life of the African bullfrog begins with the rain. When the first storms arrive, dry land suddenly transforms into a network of shallow, temporary pools. For a short time, these pools become the center of life and conflict. The males arrive first, but they are not looking for love. They are looking for war. Male bullfrogs gather in large numbers, and the competition for territory is fierce. The breeding system they follow is known as lake mating system. Smaller and younger males stay around the edges of the water, hoping for a chance. But the true giants, males that can reach nearly 10 inches long and weigh over 4 pounds, fight for the center of the pool. And they fight brutally. They ram each other with their bodies, wrestle in the mud, and bite with their powerful jaws. These clashes can be so violent that weaker males are sometimes seriously injured, or even killed. The center of the pool belongs only to the strongest. While the males battle, the females watch. When a female is finally ready to mate, she approaches the pool carefully. But reaching the strongest male is not easy. As she swims along the surface, smaller males immediately rush toward her. So, the female uses a clever strategy. At the last second, she dives beneath the water, slipping past the weaker frogs and resurfacing directly inside the territory of the dominant male. By doing this, she ensures that her offspring inherit the strongest possible genes. Once mating begins, the female lays an astonishing number of eggs, sometimes up to 4,000 at once. And then, her role is finished. She leaves the pool. But this is where the story of the African bullfrog becomes truly unusual. Unlike most frogs, the father stays behind. For nearly 3 weeks, the male remains beside the water, guarding the cloud of tiny tadpoles that hatch from the eggs. He becomes extremely aggressive during this time, attacking anything that approaches, birds, reptiles, insects, and even humans that wander too close. But the pool itself is a dangerous place. Thousands of tadpoles are packed into a small, shrinking body of water. Food is limited, and competition is intense. If every tadpole survived, most would starve before they ever became frogs. So nature introduces a brutal solution. Many of the tadpoles begin attacking and eating each other. This behavior, known as cannibalism, acts as a harsh form of population control. The strongest tadpoles grow quickly by feeding on their weaker siblings. And sometimes, even the father joins this ruthless system. While guarding the nursery, he will occasionally eat some of the tadpoles himself, both to regain energy after weeks without proper feeding, and to reduce the overcrowded population. It may seem cruel, but in this harsh environment, it gives the remaining young a better chance of survival. Within weeks, the surviving tadpoles transform into tiny froglets. They scatter into the surrounding grass and bush, beginning lives of their own. The father, once the champion of the breeding pool, now finds himself alone again. As the water disappears and the land begins to bake under the African sun, he slowly burrows back into the earth. Soon, he will once again seal himself inside a cocoon of dry skin, waiting patiently for the next rainy season.